Wedge Antilles grew up on Corellia, working at his family's fuel depot where he dreamed of becoming a pilot. When members of his family were killed by pirates, he took it upon himself to chase them down in an old starfighter and seek revenge. He got what he wanted, but the act of taking a life in such a way caused him to be sick. He began flying cargo ships until he was recruited by the Galactic Empire and then enrolled in Skystrike Academy, an elite school for TIE fighter pilots. During his training, he caught word that his childhood sweetheart, a woman named Malo, was killed by the Empire, likely for her connections with the Rebel Alliance. His opinion of the Empire immediately changed, and his desire to defect reached the ears of a secret Rebel agent named Fulcrum. A Mandalorian Rebel and former Imperial cadet named Sabine Wren was dispatched by the Rebel Phoenix Cell to Skystrike Academy to extract Antilles and two more classmates, Hobby Clivian and Rake Gary. Wedge and Hobby successfully escaped the Empire, but Rake unfortunately was killed during the attempt. Now part of the Rebel Alliance, both pilots joined Phoenix Squadron, serving the same cell as Sabine, Harrison Dula, and several other notable Rebel heroes. Like many other defectors, Wedge's time as an Imperial made him ideal for undercover missions. He was partnered up with a former Imperial droid named AP-5 to pilot a stolen Sentinel-class shuttle to an Imperial Security Bureau station on Killun 7 to steal clearance codes for future missions. A tense relationship between Antilles and the droid nearly led to disaster, but they were successful in spite of their bickering. When the Imperial Grand Admiral Thrawn discovered Phoenix Cell's hidden base on the planet Adelon, Wedge and Hobby flew A-Wings against all-terrain armored transports until they fell under attack from TIE fighters. They escaped with the rest of the cell and General Jan Dodonna to Yavin 4. There he continued to fly missions with the larger Rebel Alliance from their primary base. At some point, he flew a mission under the guidance of Fulcrum, which resulted in a broken leg that grounded him for a time. He was reaching the end of his recovery when Jyn Erso traveled to Scarif in a stolen shuttle called Rogue One, hoping to steal the plans to the Empire's dreaded superweapon, the Death Star. Wedge stayed behind on Yavin 4 while Blue, Red, and Gold squadrons joined Admiral Raddus in the Battle of Scarif. The rebels successfully stole the plans, but the Empire also learned the location of their hidden base. With the clock ticking and few pilots left available, Wedge was able to join Red Squadron in the Battle of Yavin. Along with the bravest and most handsome member of the Rebel Alliance, Big Starklighter, and also Luke Skywalker, who is fine, Antilles flew in the final attack run against the Death Star. Wedge and Biggs covered Luke long enough for him to destroy the space station, saving the Rebel Alliance. But with their base discovered, the Rebel fleet was forced to remain mobile. During that time, Red Squadron attacked and commandeered an Imperial Star Destroyer called the Harbinger. Wedge's role in the battle was to fire proton torpedoes through a breach in the capital ship's hull, temporarily overloading its reactor but causing enough panic for the Imperial crew to abandon ship. Once the Harbinger was captured, Wedge and the rest of his squadron defended the Star Destroyer until an elite unit of stormtroopers, known as Scar Squadron, forced the rebels to scuttle it. Wedge later joined Luke Skywalker, Leia Organa, and Han Solo on a mission to Krait in search of a suitable planet for a new hidden base, but Scar Squadron tracked them there as well. Wedge helped defeat the Imperials, but Krait was no longer a viable option for the Rebel Alliance. A year and a half after the destruction of the Death Star, Wedge was on an undercover mercy mission delivering medical supplies and rations to the planet Ulane. There he met an Imperial deserter named Thane Kyrell, who he convinced to join the rebellion. Although they still had no base, the Alliance fleet grew thanks to assistance from the Mon Calamari and Queen Trios of the industrial planet Shu Torun. But Trios betrayed them all by giving the Empire the fleet's temporary location at the Mako Ta space docks. During the attack, Luke Skywalker had to assemble a makeshift squadron which he named Rogue Squadron after Jyn Erso and the crew of the Rogue One. While the fleet suffered heavy losses in ships and personnel, Mon Mothma, the leader of the Rebel Alliance, escaped. 3 years after the Battle of Yavin, the rebels had settled on the ice planet Hoth. Unfortunately, their new base was discovered by the Empire as well, and Rogue Squadron was once again tasked with buying time for an evacuation and retreat. Wedge flew as Rogue 3 and was the first pilot in the battle to successfully disable an Imperial walker. Hobby also took down General Veers' walker, but unfortunately sacrificed his life to do so. After reuniting with the Rebel flagship, Home 1, Wedge found little time to grieve. In Luke Skywalker's absence, he was responsible for rebuilding Rogue Squadron to defend their position. Failure to do so would result in relocation for the fleet, which meant other missing Rebel ships would be lost. Now promoted to the rank of commander, Antilles instead chose to reinstate Red Squadron and successfully protected the rendezvous point until the Millennium Falcon, carrying Luke and Leia, arrived. In the aftermath of the Battle of Hoth, Wedge joined another flight group, Starlight Squadron, who sought to find members of the fleet that never appeared. Unfortunately, their very first mission wound up being an Imperial trap that led to the capture of Starlight leader, Shara Bey. On the planet Abdalis, Luke Skywalker joined Starlight on a mission to provide reinforcements to a rebel ship under attack from the Star Destroyer Ultima III. Through some creative tactics, Wedge helped detonate a volcano underneath the ship, destroying it and saving the rebels, which happened to include Mon Mothma and Admiral Akbar. When the Alliance discovered the Empire was building a second Death Star, they launched an all-out attack to destroy it before it could become operational. Wedge flew as Red Leader in the battle and was the first ship to enter the weapon's superstructure. He and Lando Calrissian, flying as Gold Leader, destroyed the Death Star's main reactor, which caused a chain reaction and destroyed the entire space station. Although the Empire lost its Emperor in the battle, it was not yet defeated. In order to continue the fight, General Harrison Dula oversaw Project Starhawk, a new kind of capital ship for the New Republic that repurposed Imperial Star Destroyers into new symbols of hope. While Wedge was back working with the Rogues at this time, he briefly joined Vanguard Squadron, flying with them to help capture the Star Destroyer Victorum. From there, he joined a task force to search the Outer Rim for hidden Imperial leadership. On the planet Akiva, he found what he was looking for, but was captured by what was called the Imperial Future Council. He was able to alert the New Republic, but was badly injured and detained. He was eventually rescued thanks to two natives of the planet, Nora Wexley and her son Timon. Wedge spent his time recovering on Chandrila and trained Timon, who he nicknamed Snap, to fly starfighters. He also grew close with Nora, but their relationship became complicated when her long-lost husband was found in an Imperial detention center by Han Solo. Wedge put his feelings on hold and assisted Solo in the liberation of Kashyyyk, leading a new squadron he had assembled called Phantom Squadron. He remained close to the Wexleys for the next several months, and at the Battle of Jakku, Wedge led Phantom Squadron again, including Snap in the flight roster this time. Snap's father died on the surface of the planet during the battle, and after a time, Wedge restarted his budding relationship with Nora. She joined him as an instructor at a new flight academy on Hosnian Prime, where Snap became a student. Wedge eventually trained a pilot named Poe Dameron there. Wedge and Nora married and retired back to Akiva, where they lived a peaceful life until the destruction of Hosnian Prime and the New Republic. Snap came home to ask them to join the Resistance, which he had been a part of for some time. Wedge re-entered the fight, first taking part in a mission back to his homeworld of Corellia, and then participating in the Battle of Exegol, where Snap tragically died. And that's the story of Wedge Antilles so far. I'm sure we're going to see more from him in various Star Wars books and comics and, maybe a Rogue Squadron film someday. But that's it for now. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.